It's time to go. Hi,
Oh,
Jeff.
yes. Hello, welcome to these dark times.
I feel like you have I'm going to call you Darth Scheen. I feel like that is like a legit Star Wars name, just Darth Scheen.
Yes. We, we are in dark time. We are leaderless.
I feel like there should be a more light energy this week. Given
No,
that
I lost my favorite coach of all time.
Well, I'm sure he'll be. You know what? I bet you, as of this week, Matt Patricia will be among the cheapest cameos that you can get on your phone.
Oh, yeah. We should try to get him on the pod.
We should. Hey, we just hire him because he'll say whatever we want.
Yeah, we'd be like, hey,
cameo.
I'd be like, hey, this is your chance to redeem yourself.
We'll just write a nice little script for him, be like, it was all my fault. I'm terribly sorry. The media could never get me to do it, but you guys on LOL Lions just pull the truth right out of me.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, I'm not fired. It's fake news. We're waiting for. They gotta count the votes.
Yeah, from the board. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, his hair's like real wispy, and his complexion looks almost.
Yeah. Even though like we over here, the Patricia Council demand a recount from the Fords.
Well, how was your Thanksgiving? Because that was his last game. How was your Thanksgiving, Jeff?
My Thanksgiving was very nice. I made a turkey.
Did it turn out?
It turned out very good. I'm
Good.
proud. First time I tented it in the beginning. I started off as a 3-hour cook. I tented it with a tin foil for about 2. Took it off for the last hour to cook the top a little bit more.
Did you make yourself a real moist bird then? Was it a moist bird? Was it dry?
Nope, it wasn't dry. It turned out. I gave it a big used a lot of garlic and butter rub.
You gotta do that.
A lot of butter. Oh yeah, like Paula Deen,
yeah.
buttery bird, butterball, butter bird.
Right.
Yep, cooked it, came out nice, and then that nice little small Thanksgiving get together.
I'm happy to hear it. Happy to hear it.
How was yours?
It was good. It was just myself, Emily, and our 2 daughters, and it was great. We watched that new Christmas movie on Hulu
with
Kristen Stewart and what is it called? Hulu Christmas movie. That's what we'll find it as, and it's called
Hulu one.
Yeah, and I don't know why they won't say what it's titled. That should come immediately. And I'm going to find it because it was actually a good movie. And people should watch it. It had a real Family Stone vibe. Did you ever watch The Family Stone?
Oh, okay. That's fun. That's a nice time.
Yeah, I love that movie, except for the mom dies. But this one's called Happiest Season. And it's got Kristen Stewart and Mackenzie Davis. They are both together. But Mackenzie Davis's character has yet to tell her well-to-do, affluent parents that she is gay, and tells Kristen Stewart to come. And it's a whole debacle. It comes together nicely at the end. But it was a real good movie.
But she comes out on Christmas?
I'm not going to spoil anything for you. There's a real nice, but she really hides it. You really hate Mackenzie Davis's character throughout like the whole movie, and then you kind of realize that she makes the error of her ways, and everybody comes together at the end, and there's a happy ending, and it really is.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like a great story.
Oh, it's a great one. My kids loved it. There were a lot of laugh out loud parts.
Good.
Yeah, I could not recommend it enough for this holiday season. And then on Saturday, I was chopping wood. And
yep.
I put a hatchet right into my hand.
Old Frankenhand.
That's right. Now I can't hitchhike with my left hand anymore, and that's the thumb I've always had the most success with.
Yeah, but you can still move the thumb and everything, right? It's just
I can move it now, but it's weird. I'm not going to be able to move it very well, I don't think, until the stitches come out. It's pretty deep.
But it's not like you don't have any permanent damage.
Just
superficial,
as I know so far. Yeah, it'll be a pretty cool scar.
You'll just have like a little thumb scar, and I'm just gonna be like, "What happened to your thumb?" Be like, "I used to game in the '80s."
Ooh, everybody only tells you about the warm, cozy moments of hitchhiking. This is what went wrong.
Oh, yeah. Those are some improv skills working right there. This is what goes bad.
So yeah, that was my Thanksgiving. How did you feel on Thanksgiving when the Lions were getting throttled as they
Oh,
were end up
oh,
losing the game to the Houston Texans 41-25? How did you feel?
Jesus. Well, I mean, it looked like we might have pulled it off. For the first, like they didn't start taking off really towards what is like the third, fourth quarter, maybe. Was it the third
Yeah, it was
quarter?
pretty tight at halftime. Let's see, it was 13-7 at the end of the first, 23-14 at the end of the second, 26-17 at the end of the third, and then ended up being 41-25.
Yeah. Like it was like, okay, we kind of have a game, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the fourth, it was just like, and it
Just
exploded.
catastrophic.
Yeah, and
So
then
many
it
big
just,
plays.
it just, yeah, then it just fell apart in the fourth. And I was like, oh, well, all right. And at that point, you're just like, sure, who cares? I got a bird in the oven. I gotta make sure, my stuffing's okay. I don't got time for this. I'm not letting the Lions ruin my Thanksgiving by giving up everything. Was there a turkey trophy this year? Who won the turkey? The gobbler?
Um, if
Did
it
it?
was anybody, it was Deshaun Watson because as I don't know if you saw this or not, because Deshaun Watson threw for 318 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he also rushed for an additional 24. Because he played so well with a 150.4 rating, a bunch of fans from the city of Detroit gathered money and donated it to his charity because they felt like you did it. You got Patricia and Quinn fired. We are so thankful, and they donated it to his charity. So he really did win.
Yeah. And his charity won. It was just
Mm-hmm.
all around good things for Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
His charity got money. He got a victory, and he got a alleged rapist out of our organization.
Very, very important that you throw that alleged out there because we don't want any lawsuits.
Yeah, no
Uh,
lawsuits over here. Alleged, it's just something, people always talk about stuff like that,
yeah,
with any respectable position of power. I was like, oh, he probably did. That's common, right? That happens to every man.
you know
Sure.
what? He talked. I
Unbelievable.
feel like he addressed those allegations more than he did the complete destruction of the Detroit Lions. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. He
He answered
probably,
more questions regarding that than he did being at fault for destroying this team that we love.
oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a terribly disgusting man, and he's gone. We are rid him. We are now a leaderless group.
Duff Scheen.
Oh yeah, what a good game that was to get rid of him. That was the pivotal moment, and I love the Sheila Ford.
Oh, that picture.
Oh my god, oh, it's her praying.
Let's give her some credit though, because it hasn't been since 2015 since we've made a mid-season fire, and it was also after the Thanksgiving game. Ford's fired Steve Mariucci and Dick Duran took over for the rest of the season. But since then, we have not fired anyone mid-season, and this one needed to happen.
Oh boy, it needed to have. You gotta love these Thanksgiving games. We're never on prime time, and then when we're bad, it's finally the Fords have to actually watch the team.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the only time the Fords watch the Lions play is on Thanksgiving. I
It
think
could
that's
very well be the case. I mean, well, I don't know how much Sheila actually watched it, considering this is all we saw of her at that game. She was just covering her eyes.
right. Yeah, she's covering her eyes, which makes you wonder if this was her reaction to watching that game. Right? She's going, "Oh, what is this?" It's like, "Oh, then you have not been watching this team." Because
Yeah.
if she had watched all the games and she was like an owner that was involved and really wanted to win and do all this stuff, she'd be out there like the rest of us going, just laughing and having a great, being like, of course, like obviously they're collapsing, like, and then they'd fire. But like the
Don't you
fact, like,
think?
is this what happens? Like, yeah, this is what's been happening every game. Sheila, have you not been watching this?
And I don't know if anyone knows this out there, but Sheila Ford is known for being able to watch all sorts of horror movies without covering her eyes. So for her to do that, like when
Mm-hmm.
like watching the Lions, it says a lot about how terrifying the state of affairs currently is.
Very. I mean, she watched Hereditary and didn't blink. That's the lady is not afraid of terror.
She's like, oh, you think that's bad? Let me tell you a little bit about Martha Firestone Ford.
But yeah, she probably saw it. But I'm glad she saw it, and she was disappointed, and she did the right thing. She fired both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Not one, but both.
And we are definitely going to, I'm excited because I know you did a bunch of looking into potential GM replacements.
Mm-hmm.
I looked into some head coach replacements. Before we start focusing on that, I just want to give a few facts to give you a state of the team, if you will. Okay. So now that I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but we have now had 4 GMs. This will be our 5th. This incoming one will be our 5th since 2000. Of our last 6 head coach hires, 4 of them have been first-time coaches. There was Marty Morningweg, who went 5-27, a 16% win percentage. There was Rod Marinelli, who went 10-38, a 21% winning percentage. There was Jim Schwartz, who went 29-51, a 36 win percentage. And there's Matt Patricia, who went 13-28-1, a 32 win percentage. Those are our 4 first-time head coaches over the past 6. Now, I want to say also, we did hire Steve Mariucci, who is not a first-time head coach. He went 15-28, a 35 win percentage. Of all those coaches I just mentioned, Marty Morningweg, Rod Marinelli, and Matt Patricia are the first, second, and third worst coaches in all-time Lions history. Okay, and Jim Caldwell was 36-28, a 56% win percentage, which is the 4th best all-time for a Lions head coach, falling only behind Buddy Parker from 51-56.
Okay,
a 67% win percentage.
I remember those years.
George Potsy Clark in 1931-36.
Loved Potsy Clark.
And he was 67%.
I used to wear his little hat. I used to have a little Potsy Clark hat. I'd go to the games and eat my
that little propeller on top.
Yeah, eat my Cracker Jacks.
And then third was Earl Dutch Clark from 1937 to 1938. He had a 64% win percentage. So when Jim Caldwell was here, he was the best in over 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
And we fired him because 9-7 wasn't good enough. That's where we are.
Yeah. It was Bob Quinn. Maybe he was being impatient. Maybe he just really wanted to get this guy in, and he got rid of a winning coach to put in a awful losing coach, and then that cost him his job.
And I think it should have. I think that's what should have happened. But we cannot blow these hires because we have only won 1 playoff game since 1957, and that was in 1992. So we've got to get this right.
But who's it gonna be? Who is the? I mean, it seems like the Fords are gonna once again outsource the search.
That's what I've heard.
That's what they did last time. That's what got us Bob Quinn, honestly, was a outsourced search. And I remember being like, oh, he was like a top candidate. And the Fords are like, sure, have money. We don't watch these games unless it's Thanksgiving and people expect us to watch them. So they don't care. But, maybe they'll pick a better company to outsource the search to. And maybe a good person to outsource that search to, the first candidate should be an ex-player, Herman Moore.
As a GM or as the part of the search party?
As a search, as he is going to search, and he has made a recommendation. Yeah, Herman Moore he's already got a GM candidate. He is recommended.
Number 84.
Yep, Herman Moore on Twitter said it should be Chris Spielman.
I mean,
former player.
His brother is the GM in Minnesota. They seem to be making moves sometimes.
They have good drafts. Yep. So Spielman to Spielman, a little brotherly North NFC rivalry would be fun. 2 GMs battling with their teams. Makes them, and I think Spielman would want to compete with his brother. How fun would that be?
I don't hate that idea at all, just because of obviously the pedigree. I love Chris Spielman. He is, outside, he's one of my top Lions of all time. He's probably, honestly, Barry Sanders is a very popular pick amongst everyone. And don't get me wrong, I love Barry Sanders. He is wonderful. And I love watching. I still watch his highlights to this day. But Chris Spielman was just nasty.
Oh, he was a nasty man. He was a
Woo!
nasty. He liked to break plastic. He liked to break things. You know, he'd shatter a thing or two. I mean, do we know how good he would be at running a team? No idea. No idea
Not a clue.
whatsoever. No clue. The guy could tackle. He could hit. You know, could he evaluate players? No idea. But Herman Moore
seems to think so.
He wants.
I remember about Chris Spielman, the one thing I remember as a child was I read an article or I read a story that said every time they were about to snap the ball, he imagined whoever had the ball had kidnapped his daughter. And he just went like a bat out of hell to rescue his daughter, which was the ball. I don't know if there's any validity to that. It was 20 years ago that I remember seeing that.
Wow.
So,
well, if they do pick him up a GM, they should tell, like, hey, who's your number one draft prospect choice? He's got your daughter.
You got to go get him.
You gotta get this guy. But don't overpay. Don't draft him too high. You got to get this guy at the right amount of draft capital. You got to negotiate. Yeah, you got to go play it smart. You know, sure, you can give him the first, but maybe you can get him in the second and you get your daughter back. That's a twofer.
You're not John McClane anymore going in there guns blazing, all right? Diplomacy is the answer in these later years.
Yes, we need a middle linebacker. He's got your daughter, and he's in this draft.
And you know what? Bring him on. Show him how to break a face mask.
Yeah, that's right.
That's like Chris Spielman's, you know, when they christen a boat, they crack the champagne bottle over the stern of the boat, and then they're like, oh, it's ready to go. You draft a player, and you got to break his face mask.
You got to break it, like it's a ship.
Bring Corey Schlesinger in as his assistant GM. Just face masks broken all over the place.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'd be like, and also, Chris, your brother also has your daughter. So does Green Bay and Chicago.
I'm sure she's safe because, you know, I've always heard that he's a pretty good uncle, but you should probably go get her.
Yeah, you got to make sure you beat your dang brother. I mean, it's an interesting choice. Who knows if he would even want it, you know, coming out.
He loves Detroit. The only person out there that loves Detroit more than him, I think, is Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, he does love Detroit. Dan Orlovsky is also up for offensive coordinator positions. People are talking about him.
Really?
Yeah, his name is being tossed out to be an offensive coordinator. But what was I going to say about Chris Spielman? Oh, yeah. Who knows if he wants to leave? I think he may like the announcer booth. It's good money. The only way to beat the announcer booth is a GM position. I mean, that is obviously a decent spot. Can he build a team? Who knows? Who has any idea? He's a former player. It's about all I know about him. That's it. I don't know. If we do pick him, though, we better have, like, the best linebacking core in football. I would hope that. I mean, if your GM's a dang great linebacker. But, yeah.
You know who else was a linebacker, though? Matt Millen.
Yeah, but he was like an ESPN guy. He lost it. He got soft in the studio.
He started growing that mustache, and it all went out the window.
Yeah, a lot of these. There's a few other GM that people are tossing around. I've seen after doing a little bit of Googling and researching. I've seen here's one. Jimmy Ray the third. He's an in-house. He'd be an in-house promotion. He's a senior personnel executive for the Detroit Lions.
Don't want him.
Don't want him. You don't want any in-house.
Clean house.
Yeah.
No. It's got to be all. It's got to be a full start over.
Okay. All right. Yep. No in-house.
At least in the front office and coaching staffs, I think.
Sure. Okay.
If you want to keep Braden Coombs, I'm fine with that. But
okay, I see that. All right, that makes sense. So, anyways, he joined. Yeah, and he joined Detroit in 2018 as a senior. So he really joined us and then we just got real bad. So I don't know if you'd want to promote him. That seems like a very Mayu situation. So that's totally Martin Mayu to go from Millen to Mayu and then Quinn to Jimmy Ray, R-A-Y-E. So yeah,
get him out here.
Okay, no good on that one. Here's another one. Is a director of player personnel out of the New England Patriots. Patriots guy floating around. Yeah, I know. It's another one. It would be another Patriots guy. Probably want to stay away. Yeah, Nick Caserio. Wait, what's his name? Caserio? C-A-S-E-R-I-O? Nick Caserio. Casero? Too Italian. Get him out of here. Anyways.
Also, he's got those New England ties. And I'm just going to come out and say this. I did look at a bunch of coaches. One guy that comes up a lot is the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. His name's Brian DeBall, but he coached in New England for 11 years, and I can't handle anyone with New England ties.
We're done with New England.
Get him out
we're
of
moving
here.
on. Yeah, we're moving on. We're cutting tires. Cutting ties. No in-house promotions. No Patriots, people.
It's got to be new.
Yep. Anyways, he's on the list, and then we got Louis Riddick, ESPN analyst.
He's a very popular pick, it seems, and one I don't know a whole lot about. I don't know. What do you think?
His name's been floated around. You know, he took over for what's his name? The guy that GM's over at the Raiders.
Oh.
No, what's his name? Mike? Was it Mike Mayock?
Mike Mayock, yeah.
Who's over at the Raiders now?
Mm-hmm.
And then Louis Riddick took over his position at ESPN, and he's been doing a decent job over there filling Mayock's shoes. And they're thinking maybe, hey, look at Mayock did for the Raiders. He left. This guy took over his position. He's doing pretty well, just like Mayock was doing. Maybe he could do the same thing that Mayock did with the Raiders. Raiders are doing pretty well. Granted, they spent the entire house on,
Antonio Brown.
Yeah, Antonio Brown.
Yeah, that didn't pan out. That's not a glowing. That's not great for Mike Mayock's.
True, but Antonio Brown was, you take a gamble, you roll the die. He got in, he got rid of him, and now the Raiders are what? What are they, like 6-3?
They're better. Yeah, I don't know what their record is off the top of my head. I can find out, but where are you, Las Vegas?
Yeah,
there they are. They are currently 6-5.
Yeah, 6-5. So they're doing okay. I don't know if I want like an analyst either. I don't know if I want these, because Millen was an analyst, wasn't he?
I don't know. I know he was an analyst, though. I'm not entirely sure on was he an analyst before he was a GM.
I think he was. Yeah.
Okay. I hated him.
Yeah, he was I believe he was an ESPN analyst.
Yeah, for college football, or no? Was he an announcer? Regardless, he was in some sort of commentary.
Yeah. Yeah, he was, I think, an analyst. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to look it up.
All right.
Because I got to know. Let's see. ESPN. Yeah. Yeah, he was a ESPN analyst.
Ugh.
Yeah, so this would be another ESPN analyst.
Get it out of here.
Yeah, I'm a no-go. And then we got
I will say this about Louis Riddick, though. Every time he speaks, like, he's got charm and charisma and moxie.
Yeah, I mean, he may, if he's good at evaluating players, I'm all for it. I don't know if he's good at, like, putting together a whole team. Evaluating players is one thing. Like, spotting them good. That's spotting a good player in the draft, sure. But, like, picking the right coaches, picking the right people to run the whole organization. It's a big thing,
And putting a team around you to, like,
put a team around you?
Yeah.
Can he do it? Now, this is a good one. Scott Pioli.
I don't know much about him, but I know his name has been out there forever, and he's heralded as like one of the best ever.
Yeah, he's the former general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's got a good pedigree. He was a recent job. He was a assistant general manager with the Falcons. Oh, a good.
Yeah, I mean they brought in some good players though.
Yeah, and he does have he's been around for a long time. He was a defensive tackle. He used to play defensive tackle. Maybe he'll build us a line, huh?
I would
nice
like
to have
to
defensive
fix this
tackles
defense
again. Yeah, do you remember those? Do you remember having a defensive tackle? What that felt like? Wow. Sure, they stomped on guys' ankles and kicked other quarterbacks in the nuts, but they were fun to watch.
Also stuffed the run.
They stuffed the run, and sometimes they got a huge sack on Tony Romo. So
I really like how you said Tony Romo right there. You're like, Tony Romo. The only thing
Tony
was missing
Romo.
was like, Tony Romo.
Yeah, big playoff game, gets a huge sack. We still lose. But still, we are in the playoff, and we had a defensive tackle get some major sacks, and it's something I want to see. So Pioli, he's got a good pedigree. People seem to like him. Extensive resume. It's floating around.
All right.
So that's another one. Then we got another Kansas City Chiefs guy, the director of their football operations.
What's his name?
Mike Borgonzi.
I I like him for one reason, and I'll get into it later. But tell me what you know about him, because I don't know anything other than the one thing I like.
He's the current operations of the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's been there for over a decade. He's been
And he's
there
a
for
player personnel guy, right?
Yeah, he's player personnel guide. He started off in the college scouting administration, so he's
Yeah.
also got scout abilities, and he worked his way up. He seems like he's a work guy, and he was there when he helped bring in Patrick Mahomes.
Well, let's think about the other players that Kansas City has recently brought in. I mean, they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who seems to be playing wonderfully. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Eric Fisher is one of those blue chip franchise type left tackles that if he's been there for a decade, I mean, he had probably had something to do with Eric Fisher. You got Patrick Mahomes, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Travis Kelce, you got, I mean, on the free agent end of things, he brought in Frank Clark. He just re-signed Chris Jones, who they brought in. Like, I like that. Their personnel is legit.
Yeah, they got good personnel, and people are saying if we do take Eric Bieniemy, it'd be pair him up with the Chiefs GM. Is
That's
that
the
a
thing I
little?
like about him.
Sure, but also, I don't know. We just did that with the Patriots, with having a Patriots GM and a
But
Patriots head
doesn't
coach, and that didn't seem. So I don't know. Is that the way? Do we keep chasing this template?
I mean, I don't necessarily like the idea of the template, but I will say that Andy Reid, I would be curious to see what Andy Reid's coaching tree, because it's well
He's got a good coaching
documented.
tree.
It's well documented how bad Bill Belichick's coaching tree is. One of the most successful was Bill O'Brien. He was right around 500. He just got the boot. And right now, Mike Rabel and Brian Flores are the most successful out of the Bill Belichick coaching tree. But
Yeah.
keep in mind, neither of those two were ever coordinators. One was a player, and they were both positional coaches. Now, on Andy Reid's coaching tree, I've got the top 10 here. You've got starting from 10, and we're going to work our way up. Steve Spagnuolo, Pat Shurmur, neither of them really panned out. But then all of a sudden you got Todd Bowles, who people just love. That's one of those player coaches that people have really enjoyed. Leslie
I like a
Frazier,
player's coach.
Matt Nagy, Brad Childress. Top 4, Sean McDermott. Ron Rivera is from the Andy Reid coaching tree. Doug Peterson is from the coaching tree, and John Harbaugh are from the Andy Reid coaching tree. So, I mean, there's a bit more success there.
John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh, yeah.
Yeah,
And he's 1-0 in the Super Bowl. Doug Peterson, 1-0 in the Super Bowl. Ron Rivera, 0-1 at the Super Bowl, but he made it to a Super Bowl. Sean McDermott was 0-2 in the playoffs. So the top 3 all made it to the Super Bowl.
That's a pretty good tree.
I like that coaching tree a lot better than the Belichick coaching tree.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Belichick coaching tree, Belichick is obviously, he's a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about Sith Lords, it's the rules of 2.
I need you to inform me.
So in Star Wars lore, Zach, the Sith, they obey a rule of 2, where you have a Sith Lord, and then you have an apprentice type.
Okay, like the Padawan type vibe.
Yeah. You got your Palpatine, and you got your Darth Vader. You got it's 1 and then 2, and so the rule in with the Sith is the 2. The second is supposed to kill the Lord, then they become 1, and then they get another little Padawan. That's how, unless the Lord figures it out and kills them before they get to kill. So I think this was a standard Sith, with Belichick being the Sith Lord, and then Patricia being the Sith assistant, and then he just was not good enough to kill the Sith Lord, and then he got killed himself. And now there can only be 2. So this is Star Wars lore that I'm ham-fisting into anything football related. You know what I mean? Doesn't make any sense.
Matt Patricia sure did look like he was 2.
Oh yeah, he was definitely trying to overthrow the master, but he got too excited and he sucked. Yep. And then a lot of the GM talk I've been looking at too, I see this name popping up, is Daniel Jeremiah.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
Yeah, he's an NFL and network analyst, another analyst.
Isn't he also responsible for the Senior Bowl, like putting that together and like? Or is that Jeremiah?
I don't think so.
All right. Senior Bowl. But yeah, there was somebody that they were throwing out there with. I was
Wait,
wrong.
this is the Mike Mayock guy. Never mind. Flip that with the ESPN guy. Flip that with the NFL Network guy.
All
Different
right.
networks.
Consider it flipped.
Yeah, flip those. But yeah, those are the names I've been seeing floating around. You know, who am I? Who do I want the most out of all these? I don't want an analyst. I don't know. I'm just not feeling that whole. I don't think it works. You know, honestly, I think the Borgonzi, the director of football operations with the Chiefs, they have a pretty good operations, and then maybe the Scott Pioli guy who's been around.
Yeah.
He's done it. You know, he's done a good job at other places before, and he's another Kansas City Chiefs guy.
Yeah, and he's been around because Eric Bieniemy has been in Kansas City since 2013, and if Scott Pioli was, I wonder when he was in Kansas City, 2009. So he
Oh yeah,
Scott
2009.
Pioli left Kansas City in 2012, which is when Bieniemy got there in 2013. So their paths never crossed at Arrowhead.
Oh yeah, he was hired in 2009.
Yeah,
for the Chiefs, and he's there for 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate either of those. I'm with you in the Mike Bergonzi, strictly from the personnel aspect. You know, you go back talking to the Kansas City Chief players, the guys they brought in, the culture that they bring in. You know, sure, Tyreek Hill is a bad person, but man,
but his vertical, his numbers, his athleticism,
his speed, you forget about that when he suits up, don't you?
Yeah. There's always intangibles.
That's what we'll call them, intangibles. That's the nicest way to say it.
Does he have any intangibles? We're like, no intangibles. Great, we don't want any intangibles.
I like that. Okay, so I'm with you. I like Mike Bergonzi. So I looked at head coaching potentially or replacements, and I broke them down into 3 different categories. And we're going to specifically focus on 3, but I do have information on 10. There are the current NFL coordinators. There are the current and former college coaches. And then there are former NFL head coaches with experience. Now, let's just get the pipe dream NFL head coaches with experience out of the way. You got your Super Bowl winners like Bill Cowher, Tony Dungy. I hate to say it, but Gary Kubiak, I don't think he's leaving Minnesota, Jeff. I think he's going to stay right there in his unique Vikings role. So let's toss them out. I would love to get them, but I mean, to get any of them, maybe not this with Gary Kubiak, but with Cowher and Dungy, you'd have to straight give them that GM role too. I think
they would almost want you to sell them the dang team. Yeah. They would want a Gruden situation.
Yeah. And I guess I would be fine with it if it were Dungy or Cowher. I would be fine with it with either of them because those are both guys that we've talked about in the past that are coaches that players come to play for. And that is something that I think is very important in this hire. Another name that came up that has won a Super Bowl is Brian Billick, the former Baltimore Ravens coach who won with that defense. But I don't think he's a viable option. He's just one that was a name that was floated out there. Marvin Lewis is another name that was floated out there, but
Lewis.
Yeah, that's a step back.
That's Jim Marvin Caldwell. Lewis is he's a Jim Caldwell.
Yeah, and Jim Caldwell is also a name that is floated out there just for like, hey,
he wouldn't come back.
I don't think he would either. So like,
no way. I wouldn't if I was him.
Not at all. Some people are even talking about if he gets hired, a new head coach gets hired, maybe they'll bring Jim Caldwell in as an offensive coordinator. And it's like, why on earth would you do that if you're Jim Caldwell? It doesn't make any sense at all.
Offensive coordinator to the Lions?
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't come back. No, Caldwell never come back here. No way.
No, he called it. What did he call it when he was here? Like the depths of despair. Like the fans were so awful to him. And in hindsight, we shouldn't have been because he was the again 4th best coach we've ever had.
Yeah.
Records.
Depths of despair. I mean, come on, Detroit fans are that bad.
It was bad when he was here.
Oh well, he was.
What did he?
You know.
What did he call it? Jim Caldwell. Depth,
I mean, we were pretty mean to him on Reddit memes. There's a lot of Jim Caldwell memes, but he also had a completely expressionless face.
That's true.
Like,
but he's
like,
also
like,
a guy that players just love to play for.
sure, but like the memes of Jim Caldwell, like the picture of his face, like Jim Caldwell winning, Jim Caldwell losing.
He was a very stoic man. There's no question about that. So those are all the former NFL head coaches. One coach falls into the former NFL coach and college head coach. That's Jim Harbaugh, which I will get into some specifics on him a little bit later. I know you're high on Jim Harbaugh. Another one that is up there is Nick Saban, but why would he ever leave Alabama?
Nah. There's no way we get Nick Saban.
No. The next one is Urban Meyer, which we've discussed. He's a cover-up kind of guy.
Yeah, I doubt
sure,
it.
he won titles with 2 programs, but he's got his health issues. He's got his he's not coming.
He's not going.
The next 2 head coaches are I would be excited about. Well, first off is Matt Campbell, the coach in Iowa State. Okay. He is currently the odds-on favorite to replace Jim Harbaugh, who is inevitably going to be fired at the conclusion of this Michigan Wolverines season. Matt Campbell has been coaching for 9 years as a head coach at both Toledo and Iowa State. And in that time, he has only had 1 losing season, which was his first year at Iowa State in 2016. Essentially, he has turned 2 no-name programs into teams that are nationally relevant. I mean, if that's not the definition of what you're looking for in the Detroit Lions, I mean, we are irrelevant every single year, and that's what he did. He turned irrelevant teams into relevant. I do think he's going to end up staying and try and turn around the Michigan team, but he's one that's definitely out there as a candidate for the Lions coaching position. Another one that comes up, which I would personally be very excited about because of this rebirth of the NFL offense, the evolution of the game, is Lincoln Riley, the head coach out of Oklahoma. Currently is in 4 years at Oklahoma. He's 42-8, which is a win percentage of 4%. In those 4 years, he has made the playoff 3 years. He's a quarterback mastermind in that he has led Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray to Heisman trophies, and Jalen Hurts, he was a Heisman Trophy finalist, and players don't say a bad thing about him. They love Lincoln Riley. Will that translate to the NFL? Is he a good teacher and maybe not a good colleague, which is more the situation in the NFL? I don't know, but I would like to get Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley, that would be good, and especially if we are in the need of a quarterback, we're going to be at least.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to have a guy who has built, 2 pretty good quarterbacks so far in the NFL level.
And think about the guys that have come in that are QB quote unquote gurus that have recently done wonders. You've got Matt Rule, who is just, they may not be winning a lot of games, but he has transformed the culture in Carolina. For the most part, they have been competitive in every game. They did. And we didn't score any points.
Yeah. And look at it. He made PJ Walker all-pro.
Sure did. And then there's Cliff Kingsbury, who, Arizona's offense, they've been losing games lately by field goals at last minute, but their offense is crazy exciting, and they look good. Fighting for the lead of the NFC West. And then in the NFC West, currently in the lead is Sean McVay.
Yeah.
Which is another, as I move into current offensive coordinators, a lot of people are out there are throwing around the name Kevin O'Connell, who is currently the offensive coordinator in the Los Angeles Rams franchise. Last year, he was the offensive coordinator under Jay Gruden for the then Washington Redskins football team. Now, I have some statistics. I do not want Kevin O'Connell. I don't want him at all.
You don't want Kevin O'Connell?
Nope. He is
okay, I do like his name.
Sure.
It's the old Cardinals, that's fun.
Well, he's only been coaching since 2015.
He's pretty fresh. How old is he?
And he's only been an offensive coordinator for 2 years. Last year in Washington and this year in Los Angeles.
That's too new.
He's 35 years old. He played for the Jets.
Our age.
Yeah.
I don't want to be rooting for a guy that's my age.
Now listen to this. In 2019 in Washington, They were 31st in yards per game, 32nd in pass yards per game, 22nd in rush yards per game, and 32nd in points per game. I mean, that's not some offensive mastermind. He
No.
has made some incredible jumps this year, though.
Okay.
The Rams currently this year are 6th in yards per game. They are 11th in pass yards per game, 9th in rush yards per game, and 19th in points per game. Vast improvement, but he's also got a lot more players, that he's playing with. And it's kind of a Matt Patricia, Bill Belichick situation. McVay's bailing him out when the going gets tough.
Yeah. I see that as that's McVay's success. I don't think that's O'Connell's success. Yeah, I would say no. He's too new. We're gonna bring him in after a decent half a year so far with the Rams.
That's it. Yeah, and I mean,
that's not enough.
I'm with you 100%. I'm not saying that one day Kevin O'Connell will not be an offense or be a head coach, but I do not think that this year he will be a head coach. And if he is hired as the Lions head coach, I'm going to be just beyond upset.
That'll be wild.
I'll be crying. I will be visibly distraught, and my kids will ask me what's wrong, and I'll say, what's wrong.
Yeah, that's wild. I like this. I like this Lincoln Riley fella.
Lincoln Riley would be a huge get. Huge get. It would give a lot of hope to Lions fans. Another coordinator out there is the offensive coordinator from the Tennessee Titans. His name is Arthur Smith. He is credited with much of Tennessee's success over the past 2 years, which he has been the head coach. Now, he's been coaching since 2006 and with the Tennessee Titans since 2011. Again, this is the second year he's been their offensive coordinator. He's loved by his players, but he is a run-first guy, which,
oh, absolutely. Look at their whole team is run first. But look what he did to Tannehill. Maybe he could do that to Stafford.
Maybe. I mean, he's definitely airing it out. Keep in mind, last year as an offensive coordinator, he did make the AFC title game, where in 2019 their offense was 12th in yards per game, 21st in pass yards per game, 3rd in rush yards per game, and 10th in points per game. All of those except pass yards per game have gone up this year. This year they're 8th in yards per game. They are 22nd in pass yards per game. They are 3rd in rush yards per game and 6th in points per game. He's a good offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and it's all him because Vrabel is not an offensive-minded guy at all.
Exactly.
He's an old player that he's a defensive guy. So that is I like that. And I do like Tennessee's offense.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, like I said, he is loved by players. That is something that anything I read went out of their way to say.
That's something we need. Also, we need a coach that is loved by players. After what we have heard of what the players have been saying about, what did he say to Ashawn Robinson? Patricia was like,
I'll take your career away.
You're never going to have a career. I'll take her career away. And he's going up to Slay, like, stop sucking dick, you gay boy. Yeah. Just wild things. It's like, this isn't how a adult should behave to other adult men.
You're
None
absolutely
of the players
right.
like him, and they do not play for him. And it's obvious. We need a coach that the players will play for.
Now, I do not think – I agree, and Arthur Smith is that guy, but I do not think he will be hired by us. He might get a head coaching job this year. I'm not saying that he won't get a head coaching job, but we are not the Lions are currently not in a position to miss. Like, you have to take not a guy that has potential and like, oh, he's got all this. And sure, their offensive numbers are wonderful down there in Tennessee, but I mean, he went from offensive coordinator. He was a tight ends coach before, and he was like an assistant and a graduate assistant. He worked his way up through the ranks. He earned his rights, whatever. I do not think Arthur Smith, and I honestly, it would be a tough pill for me to swallow with some of the other candidates out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Joe Brady is the offensive coordinator in Carolina. He's been a coach for 8 years. 5 of those were in college and 3 in the NFL. He's only been an offensive coordinator for 1 year, and that is this year. The reason he is his name is being put out there a lot is because he is given all the credit for LSU's aerial attack last year in that national championship run where Joe Burrow was just far and away the best player in college football.
Okay.
I think he's hell of a head coach, but I'm not sold on him as a head coach. I mean,
yeah, he's
had one good year.
Yeah. If he left college and came to the NFL, as an offensive coordinator. I think you should stay an offensive coordinator for a little bit longer until
I
he's
agree.
over. Because if you're going to leave college, you know, you either go be an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator for a few years and then bump up, or go from college to head coach after a very respectful college run.
Yeah.
But like to go from like college to coordinator for a year, then head coach, that to me, it's always jumping the gun. Like, oh, we don't want to, that's wait and see on those.
And it's a team only a team that has a history of winning can roll the dice like that.
Yeah.
We cannot.
No, we need to turn around everything.
Which is why I don't think we can pick this next guy, though his numbers are undeniable, and that is Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. I mean, you former Lions quarterback?
Former Lions quarterback. Now, listen, he's only been coaching since 2018. In 2018, he was the quarterback's coach. And then 2019 and 2020, he has been the offensive coordinator. Listen to what this guy has done in short time as an offensive coordinator. And keep in mind, under two different head coaches. Last year, it was Jason Garrett, and this year, Mike McCarthy. So in 2019, Dallas Cowboys, under Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator, were first in yards per game. They were second in pass yards per game. They were fifth in rush yards per game, and they were sixth in points per game. That's his first year as offensive coordinator. This year, in the first five, I'm not going to even take into account what has happened to them since Dak Prescott went down, but when Dak Prescott was healthy this year in 2020, they were first in yards per game, first in pass yards per game, and first in points per game.
Wow. Kellen Moore getting it done.
Yeah, he's going to be a head coach. But again, he's too much of a roll of the dice right now. He doesn't have a proven record.
Yeah, I mean, I remember him getting drafted.
Yeah. Well, was he drafted? I thought he was undrafted.
Was he undrafted?
Let me see.
He might have. Maybe we did just pick him up. Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah, he wasn't drafted.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. We just picked him up, and he was with us for a little while. And then
but those numbers as a coordinator are impressive.
What a dang Lions thing to do is we pick him up undrafted, then he goes over to Dallas. It's like, we'll just make him a coordinator, and he's first.
He's just destroyed.
We were sitting on a great coordinator. But
when he was at Boise State, like he was breaking records.
Yeah, he was like good at. Everybody was like kind of like maybe Kellen Moore might be a good, but he wasn't. He didn't have the arm strength, I believe.
I believe that he could end up being the next quote unquote Sean McVay type player, where he goes in, he revolutionizes the team, maybe, but his numbers are undeniable.
That is good. That is. I don't see it happening, but hopefully he does become a head coach, maybe in the next 2 or 3 years.
I do not necessarily want him, given the other two coordinators that are on my list, but I could figure out a way to get excited about Kellen Moore.
Yeah, for sure. But we definitely need a I don't know, kind of like a whole change of organization. We're not like, I
agree.
We're not like a hot, like you said, we're not a hot candidate away.
Mm-mm.
We're not just
and
like,
it's hard.
Ooh, we don't have a GM right now.
Now, I'm coming up to the guy that I know that you want, and you think he's going to unify the state of Michigan, and that is Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, he's going to unify the state. He's like King Edward that unified England. I'm watching a Netflix show about the unification of England.
The Crown?
What's that?
Is it The Crown?
No, it's something Kingdom. The Last Kingdom. It's kind of a cheesy show, but it's fun historically.
You said that with some sass on that eye roll.
Yeah. It's fun
historically.
Yeah, because it's got like the old English, like this is London. Like, oh, it's modern day London. It's fun. Jim Harbaugh. I mean, I know there's a lot of people. There's a big divide, I feel like, in the fan base. I think it's probably actually more of a 70-30, 70 against, of people going, no way. And then 30 being like, but he was good in the NFL.
I mean, I've got records here of his head coaching. He was 29-6 as the head coach. It's for San Diego, the University of San Diego. That is a 83% win percentage.
That's pretty good.
29-21 at Stanford, which is a 58 win percentage, but that's still great. Now at Michigan, he is currently 49-22, which is a 69 win percentage. And with the 49ers, he was 44-19-1, which is a 70 win percentage. Overall, he is 151, 68-1, which is a 69% win percentage.
That is good. I know everyone hates Harbaugh in Michigan because of U of M, but he was good in the NFL.
In the NFL, in 2011 he went 13-3. In 2012 he went 11-4-1. In 2013 he went 12-4, and in 2014 he went 8-8. Now in 2011 through 2013 he made 3 straight NFC Championship appearances, and in 2012 he made it to the Super Bowl where he lost.
He was not a bad NFL coach, and he had a quarterback controversy. He did it with Alex Smith, and then he does it with
Colin Kaepernick.
He did it with. Then he goes, "Well, fine, no more. Do it with a different quarterback," and he did it again.
I'm not going to deny what he did in the NFL. I'm not, but I think there are some things you should hear about his record in college bowl games and in the big games as the Michigan head coach.
Sure. Yep. Maybe
he's 2-5 in bowl games. He's 2-6 if you count the Super Bowl.
Okay, sure.
And you know what? If you count the NFC Championship, he is 3-8.
Okay.
In big games.
Well, if he gets us to 3-8 in the NFC Championships.
I mean, I would love to get to the NFC Championship. Now, he is 3-3 against. These are the big games for Michigan State. These are the games that, you circle on the calendar as Michigan football players, fans, head coaches. He's 3-3 against Michigan State.
Oh, it's 3-3. He's 3-3 against Michigan State.
Against Michigan State.
Okay.
For Michigan, he is 1-4 in bowl games. He is 2-3 against Wisconsin, and he is 0-5 against Ohio State.
Okay.
I'll let you cut out Wisconsin. Michigan State and Ohio State are must-win games as far as the Michigan faithful are concerned, and that is a 3-8 record over 6 years.
That's fair. Okay. Maybe, but he's going to be bad at recruiting, maybe but he's good.
He got some commits, but he's also got a lot of decommits.
True. Yeah. He gets some decommits. It's tough. I think he's a winner. I think, but I do also think if we did bring him in, he would want more control.
Maybe.
He would probably definitely want, and he apparently is kind of a pain in the ass to work with, which is why he got kicked out of San Francisco.
It's true.
And I don't know but maybe that would be good for him to be with the Lions, because if with the Lions, you're not really working with anybody because there's no oversight. The ownership doesn't pay attention. So maybe it would be a good fit for him.
Here's my thing on Jim Harbaugh. I get it. I get why people would want to bring him in. I get that he played at Michigan. I get that he's one of Michigan's heroes. I mean, granted, he was not born in Michigan. He was born in Toledo, and he went to high school in California. And the only thing that is Michigan about him is that he played in Michigan and now is coaching at Michigan, where he is wildly underperforming.
Yeah, he is underperforming.
He's not even come close to meeting expectations in Ann Arbor.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair, but maybe it's just different beast, and he does better in the NFL. I don't know.
I think the game, we've talked about it a number of times. I think football has evolved, and he has not evolved with it. I think he is.
See, I disagree. I think he was with Kaepernick, he was one of the beginners to the mobile quarterback. He was almost one of the first head coaches on the mobile quarterback deep arm train. And it worked very well.
It sure did. He got to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. If we hire Jim Harbaugh, I will be indifferent. I won't be mad, but I won't be happy.
Okay, that's fair. I will be excited. I'll get my khaki pants on, and I'll get ready.
khaki pants, a rare steak, and a big glass of milk.
Yeah, praising God. Because I think he's a big God guy. I'm not sure.
I think he is. I think he's got like 10 kids too. He's got a lot of kids.
Yeah, I think he's religious or something. But hey, doesn't matter to me. Let me see some playoff wins.
All
But
right.
who do you? And what do you? Is there more? Do you have more coaches
We have
candidates?
2 more, and these are the guys that I want. And I think
These
these
are
are
the
the
guys.
guys.
We're ending up the ones you want. Okay.
Yes, these are the guys that I think everyone wants. Would you like me to start with offense or defense? Because I would be happy with either one of these guys.
Oh, I know who they are.
Well, everybody knows who they are.
Yeah, go defense.
Defense. Now, this is the guy that I want slightly more.
You want him a little bit more.
I want Robert Saleh slightly more than Eric Bieniemy.
Okay, all right.
Because unlike Jim Harbaugh, and I will get into his numbers, this guy is proven it's not just a homer vibe, but this guy is born and bred Michigan. This is a fairy tale story about a guy growing up idolizing Barry Sanders and rooting for the Detroit Lions, making good and coming back for his first head coaching opportunity with the Detroit Lions.
Ooh, I like this. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a big Detroit Lions fan.
Oh, he was born and raised in Dearborn. Okay.
Dearborn. That's
He
good.
played
I love a
all
fairy tale story.
This is exactly what this is.
I'm one of those people that does truly appreciate the narratives and the stories.
Yeah, this is as romantic as it gets.
Yeah, you should have seen me during the Harbaugh Bowl when the two brothers were facing. I was like, oh, can you believe? I mean, 2 brothers? I was the only one that thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Everybody else.
You're
was
imagining what dinner would be like at the next holiday.
Yeah, I love a story. Okay, continue.
Okay, so he's born and bred in Michigan. He is from Dearborn, where his family still lives, and his brother coaches at a high school around Dearborn.
Oh, I like this.
He played all 4 of his years, I believe, as a tight end. I'll have to check, but he played all 4 of his college years at Northern Michigan University.
I've been up there.
Yeah, it's a fun spot. I like it very much. I'm trying to find out what he played. I believe it was tight end. And
okay, we could use him. We could use him to maybe we could train up Hawkinson.
Ooh, and he was a 4-year starter at Northern Michigan University from 98 to 2002, and he was all conference as a tight end.
Okay.
Now, his first coaching job came after he got his master's degree at Michigan State University. His first coaching job, Michigan State University. His second coaching job, Central Michigan University. He then left and went to Georgia, and then he was in the NFL as of 2005 with Houston, Seattle, then Jacksonville, and now with San Francisco. He idolized Barry Sanders. I can't find anything about it, but I don't know. They've got 6 children, 4 sons and 2 daughters. Why wouldn't you want to bring your family back to be with your family, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But bring the families all together.
Yeah, and then I will get into Richard Sherman. I just saw an interview with him saying this, and you know how Richard Sherman didn't come to the Lions, who offered him more money because of Patricia. Mm-hmm. He said this about Robert Saleh. He goes, "You got to give that guy more credit than you can even put into words. That guy, we have been decimated by injuries all year long, and he never makes an excuse. He only prepares good game plans, and we go out there and execute. He is a rallier of the team and a leader of men."
Oh,
that's what Richard Sherman said about Robert Saleh.
I got a little bit of chills when he said that.
Yeah, I mean, I love this guy.
A leader
also,
of men.
A good look for the Detroit Lions after what now in hindsight seems to be a complete white privilege hire. His family is of Lebanese descent, so he qualifies for the Rooney Rule. And with this year, you're getting extra draft picks and financial compensation for hiring minority coaches. That works huge for us.
That's right. More picks, and we only have 5 picks.
A general manager that you did not mention, and the only reason I'm mentioning him is because some of the articles I read, Adam Peters is essentially the same role as Mike Bergonzi, personnel guy under John Lynch, bringing in great guys. Think about the talent that they've brought in San Francisco. And they're saying that if we bring in Robert Saleh, we could bring in Mike McDaniel, who is their rushing game coordinator. Love that Shanahan zone blocking scheme. Swift's going to have all sorts of holes to run through. Or Mike LaFleur, who is their passing game coordinator. And look at the offense that's going on just up in Green Bay with his older brother, Matt LaFleur.
Ooh, this is good. It would be a good hire.
I
Okay.
love it. Now,
I
listen,
like this.
he has continually improved their defense. In 2000, I'm going to list them in terms of yards per game, passing yards per game, rush yards per game, and then points per game, the ranks, okay? For yards allowed, for total yards allowed, in 2017, they were 24th. 2018, 13th. 2019, 2nd. 2020, 6th. And remember, their entire defensive line is essentially on injured reserve. They're still 6th with all those injuries. In pass yards allowed per game, they were 22nd. In 2018, they got up to 11th. Last year, they were 1st. And this year, they are 4th. Again, all the injuries. 2017 rush yards, 23rd up to 14th. They fell down to 17th in 2019, but this year they are 10th in rush yards allowed. And then in points per game, in 2017, they were 25th, fell in 18 to 28th, 2019, 8th, 2020, 11th. The numbers that are most impressive to me are the 2020 numbers because of all the injuries they had.
Right. He's a leader of men.
He's a leader of men. And what I like about this guy is he's got no coaching tree.
I like that. Yeah. I like he's not really part of a coaching tree. It's him. He did it.
And he deserves all the credit for that defense because he is playing under Kyle Shanahan, head coach, who is far and away a quarterback guru,
he's
offensive
an offensive
mind.
guy.
That is his defense.
Yeah, so
I
he's
want
coming
Robert
in there.
Saleh bad.
Oh, that would be huge. I do remember you really wanting Patricia, but let's hope that you're right this time. And yeah, I do love my biggest thing that I love about this is the gosh dang fairy tale story of him.
Yes.
I hope when he sits down and goes, you know what, Sheila, listen, I just want to be back with my family. I love Michigan. I love the Detroit Lions. I grew up rooting for them. This would be a dream come true. And she's like, you know what? Would you do it for free? And he's like, put all the money you'd give me into the cap and get better players. You know? That would be a story.
I want to see where his wife is from.
Oh yeah, you gotta see where. Yeah, you're gonna get caught up by the FBI.
Where is she
are you
from?
trying to find out where the defensive coordinator from San Francisco's wife is from?
I hope she's from Michigan too.
Well, I mean, you never know. People meet their loves of their lives all over the world, Zach.
You know what? This is already our longest episode yet, but I'm not gonna look into it anyway. I want him. I
think he'd be great. I think he'd be great too. I really like that. He's definitely.
And the final one is Eric Bieniemy. Oh, I should say this about Saleh too. He has been coaching for 18 years, and then the last 4 years as a defensive coordinator. So like, he's not new.
Yeah, he's been around. Good. I like that.
And he's also only 41. I mean, if he hits, he's a guy that we are coaching with for 30 years.
And that would be something, huh?
Oh God,
can you imagine some stability for a long time?
Now, Eric Bieniemy is 51. He's been coaching for 19 years, and he has been 4 years as an offensive coordinator. I would love to get him too, just because of the weapons we have on offense, assuming we re-sign Kenny Golladay. Think of the things he could do with a Stafford, TJ Hawkinson, Travis Kelce, what he's done with Travis Kelce, DeAndre Swift, Kenny Golladay. We've got a line on the left side. We just have to build the right up a little bit. And I think he's the type of guy from an Andy Reid coaching tree where players are going to want to come play for him. So we could get some good receivers out of him. He is credited so much with the Patrick Mahomes development.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. He is very creative and an offensive minded. He is been called a motivator who gets the most out of his players.
But not a leader of men.
Is not what Richard Sherman.
He is a motivator of men.
That's right. And he listen to this. In 2019, Kansas City was 6th in yards per game, 5th in pass yards per game, 23rd in rush yards per game, and 5th in points per game. Whereas in 2020, they're 1st in yards per game, 1st in rush yards per game. Pass yards per game, 18th in rush yards per game, and 3rd in points per game. Now, you'll notice that 23rd in rush yards per game and 18th in rush yards per game. That's not overly exciting considering our woes in the past of being
right. I want a run game.
But listen to this. Before he was an offensive coordinator, he played in the NFL as a running back for 9 years, and then was the running backs coach at the University of Colorado in 2001 and 2002, the running backs coach at UCLA from 2003 to 2005. He was the running backs coach at the Minnesota Vikings from 06 to 2010, where he had Adrian Peterson go off for 1341 and 12 touchdowns, 1760 and 10 touchdowns, 1383 and 18 touchdowns, and 1298 and 12 touchdowns. This guy can coach running backs. He just hasn't done it.
That's pretty good. But my only I was gonna say my only concern is how much of this is the great players he has. You know, he did good in the running game when he had Adrian Peterson. He did great in the passing game when he had Patrick Mahomes. You know.
Yeah.
That's what makes me nervous. What were you going to say before I interrupt you?
Concern that he was the running backs coach in Kansas City from 2013 to 2017.
Okay.
Which I want to see Kansas City running backs because they had some really good running backs for a while.
They did earlier than that, though. Are you thinking of Larry Johnson and Priest Holmes?
Yeah, and Jamal Charles.
Yeah, that was like that was like 09, 010.
Yeah.
010. I guess that
regardless, that's Eric Bieniemy. I like him
part
very,
of me
very
thinks,
much.
See, to me, he just seems like Andy Reid's the offensive guy over there.
That's true.
And Bieniemy, to me, I just get a Josh McDaniels feel out of him.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I mean? Like he's like, oh, this is the guy that comes over, goes to Denver, you know, and I just have this feeling he's like a great offensive coordinator. Yeah, when he has some of the greatest pieces and the whole thing's run by a great coach. You know, I don't think he's going to actually be a great head coach. I don't got the vibes from him. I don't got it.
I get
this, you know, this fairy tale story, was it Shula?
Robert Saleh.
Saleh? I like that. You know, I always like a defense. Sounds good over there. I like that. It's his own defense. He's not under anybody. It's him doing it. That's great. I love that.
Leader of men.
He's a leader of men. I think that's great. So I'll put him up there and Jim Harbaugh.
So
and the Oklahoma coach.
So your top three.
Those are my top three.
Let me get your number 3, Lincoln Riley.
My number 3, I'll do 3 is Lincoln Riley.
Okay, it's number 2.
Number 2 would be Jim Harbaugh.
Okay, and number 1, Robert Saleh, fairy tale story.
I'll go Saleh because I like I love the fairy tale story, you know, and I love I know San Francisco's got a great defense, and I just like that. That's all him.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% there. My top 3, I would, honorable mention. I really think Kellen Moore is going to do something in this league as a head coach. Those numbers were very impressive.
He'll probably take over the Cowboys once they get rid of McCarthy after 2 years.
Yeah, everybody's saying he's a big liability, and the only consistent thing has been Kellen Moore. Right. My number 3 though would be Lincoln Riley. My number 2 would be Eric Bieniemy, and then my number 1 is Robert Saleh. I want Robert Saleh pretty bad.
Okay, so we're very close. We just swap on Bieniemy and Harbaugh. I'm going to get called a crazy person for that, but I just love the khakis.
I've seen you drink glasses of milk, and every time you do, you're like,
yeah,
you go.
Yeah, I go, God bless this milk. I drink it.
Well, there's a whole nother thing we could talk about, but this has already been a pretty long one. Darrell Bevell, he's the interim head coach. Let's hope
Let's do it quick. How do you think he's going to do in the next game?
Against the Bears, he's probably going to win. However, Chicago Bears are playing the Lion Killer, which is Mitchell Trubisky. That's what it sounds like. They're going to play him over.
But is it the Lion Killer or was that the Patricia Killer? We're going to find out.
Either or.
We're going to find out what this team looks like next week, and we're going to talk about it. I'm looking forward to what this new, fresh team's going to be.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope we can get Micah Parsons in the draft with Robert Saleh as the head coach. Then you've got that generational talent type linebacker in a defense. That's my hope.
And with Saleh, we may keep Stafford for a couple of years.
I think we would. I think we need to look in the draft, though, too, for a quarterback and start figuring out the heir apparent. I think that needs to happen.
Sure, 100%.
So,
well,
it's been just a joy talking to you.
Oh yeah, this has been quite an in-depth analysis.
It sure has. Okay, I love you. Bye.
Okay, goodbye.